Hello everyone, welcome to BioWorks. So today we will learn about structure of anatropous ovule and development of female gametophyte. Let's get started. So in my previous video, we have already studied about the structure of flower, in which we saw that the female part of the flower is pistil or carpel. And a carpel consists of three parts: the stigma, style and ovary. Now over here I have shown an ovule which is present inside the ovary. And where exactly ovule is present? It is present in the cavity of the ovary, which is called as locule, and it is seen attached to the placenta. So if you see, I have mentioned placenta here, right? So this is placenta and this is ovule, and placenta and ovule are attached by a stalk called as funicle over here. So in other words, you can say that funicle is a stalk that attaches the ovule to the placenta. And if you can note, there is a term hilum over here. So what is hilum? Hilum is the point of attachment of ovule to the funicle. It is a point where the ovule is attached to the funicle. Alright, so I'll explain all the parts here. But before that, let me tell you what is the meaning of anatropous here. So in most of the books, you will find the word anatropous. So anatropous is the type of ovule which is most commonly seen in the angiosperms. There is also another type of ovule called as orthotropous, and there are several more types of ovules. But anatropous ovule is the most common type, and hence it is included in your syllabus. So anatropous ovule is a type of ovule where micropyle, you can see here, this is micropyle. Micropyle is directed towards the funicle. The other type of ovule that I mentioned, orthotropous, it is upright where the chalaza, this end of the ovule, is directed towards the funicle. That is the difference between anatropous and orthotropous ovule. Alright, now I will go into details about the structure of ovule and I'll go on explaining each part mentioned here. Starting with the chalaza. So chalaza is the basal part of the ovule over here, you can see, and chalaza is always opposite to micropyle. Now, you can see the central region here, this region is called as nucellus. What is nucellus? Nucellus is nothing but the parenchymatous tissue present right in the center of ovule. And inside the nucellus, there is the structure called as embryo sac. I have shown that in purple and I have labeled here, yes, that is embryo sac. Now, embryo sac is nothing but the female gametophyte here. I will be going into detailed structure of embryo sac and how embryo sac is formed in the following section. Right now, I am focusing on the structure of ovule here. Alright, so nucellus is the parenchymatous tissue in which embryo sac is present. Nucellus is further surrounded by two protective coverings here. If you can see, they are called as integuments. So there is an outer integument and there is an inner integument. So both these are protective coverings around the nucellus. And if you observe carefully, these integuments, they leave a gap at the bottom, and this gap is called as micropyle. So micropyle, what do you think is the role of micropyle here? Yes, you guessed that right. Micropyle is the point from where water can be absorbed and even pollen tube can enter inside the ovule. Okay. Now coming to the other labelings here, the antipodals, secondary nucellus, synergids and the egg. All these are part of embryo sac. As I said, in the coming section, I will explain the formation of embryo sac, and in the same section, I will also explain the role of all these mentioned here. So I will now explain development of a female gametophyte, which is nothing but the embryo sac. If you all recall, in my previous section, I spoke about nucellus. Yes, nucellus is the central tissue in the ovule which consists of parenchymatous cells. Now what happens during development of female gametophyte is one of the cell of nucellus, usually with a dense cytoplasm and a prominent nucleus, becomes differentiated to form a megaspore mother cell, which is also called as MMC. Now this megaspore mother cell is diploid and it is the one which will form the megaspores. Remember that formation of megaspores from the megaspore mother cell is called as megasporogenesis. Now, what happens is this diploid megaspore mother cell undergoes meiosis to form a megaspore tetrad. As we all know, in meiosis, 4 daughter cells are formed. So over here, the megaspore mother cell undergoes meiotic divisions, first resulting in formation of a megaspore dyad, followed by formation of megaspore tetrad, where you can see 4 megaspores are formed and all 4 of them are haploid. I'll mention that over here. I'll mention the ploidy for both megaspore mother cell, which is 2N, and the ploidy for the megaspore is N, which is haploid. Right. Now, out of the 4 haploid megaspores, only one remains functional and the rest of the 3 degenerate. So, usually the upper 3 megaspores, they degenerate or they abort and only one of them remains functional. So I have shown one megaspore over here. Imagine this is one megaspore. So what happens is this one functional megaspore undergoes mitotic divisions. So first mitotic division of the functional megaspore will result in the formation of 2 nuclei. Please make a note over here that these mitotic divisions are free nuclear divisions. What I mean by that is when mitosis takes place, nucleus divides without formation of cell wall. Right. So over here, this is the first meiotic division leading to formation of 2 nuclei, followed by second meiotic division leading to formation of 4 nuclei, 2 at each poles. So these are 2 nuclei at one pole and these are 2 nuclei at the other pole, which will be followed by the third meiotic division resulting in formation of 8 nuclei, 4 nuclei at each pole. So you can see 4 nuclei at this pole and 4 nuclei at this pole. Right. So over here, 8 nuclei are formed in total. Now what happens next is from the 4 nuclei at this pole and from the 4 nuclei at this pole, one nucleus migrates in the center to form the polar nuclei. If you can see in this diagram, yes, so out of the 4 nuclei at this pole, one of them has migrated in the center, and out of the 4 at this pole, one of them has migrated in the center. Now these 2 nuclei are called as polar nuclei. The set of 3 over here generally is referred to as an egg apparatus, out of which the central cell is called as an egg cell and the 2 cells are called as synergids. Please make a note that this end is the micropylar end and this end is the chalazal end. Towards the chalazal end, you will see there are 3 nuclei which are called as antipodals. So in this adjacent diagram, which is the final embryo sac, you can see I have shown the chalazal end on this side and this side is the micropylar end. So towards the chalazal end, the 3 cells called as antipodals are formed. In the center, you have polar nuclei. Later on, polar nuclei fuse to form something called as a central cell or secondary nucleus that happens just prior to fertilization. And towards the micropylar end, you have this egg apparatus, which consists of the central large cell called as egg, which is the cell that fuses with the male gamete at the time of fertilization, and the 2 other cells are called as synergids. Now, if you see, synergids have got these hair-like projections or thickenings at the bottom. These are called as filiform apparatus. What is the role of filiform apparatus? It helps in guiding the pollen tube inside the ovule. So basically, synergids assist in the process of fertilization, whereas antipodal cells are said to provide nutrition. So hope this video was fruitful to you all and the concepts were clear. In the next video, we will be learning about pollination and its types. Until then, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And as always, feel free to post your questions or doubts in the comment section. Thank you.